Ladies, look, I always come here and ask y'all where you are in your week, but I'm not going to do that today. All right, June 1st came and went, which means that we are in the second half of 2026, which is crazy because I feel like we were just saying Happy New Year. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, like I said, I'm not going to ask you where you are with your self-care or whatever. I'm going to ask you where you're going with this next 6 months. What are you going to do? Okay? Because the bottom line is how well you handle the daily 5, which is hydration, nourishment, movement, rest, and reflection. How well you handle that daily 5 bleeds out into everything else. Okay? So where are you going with the second half of the year as it relates to self-care? All right, that's what this midweek check-in is about. Okay, I'm gonna ask you 5 questions because these are the checkpoint questions. All right, these questions are similar to the ones that I always ask for the check-in, but this is what you need to be thinking about because nothing else matters if you don't take care of this daily 5. Okay. And if you can't do all at once, that's okay. But every day you need to be focused on as many as you can, really. But if you can only eke out one, just know that it's gonna affect your performance everywhere else. So why are you putting it on the back burner? I don't know. But are you drinking enough water? Okay. Not are you, drinking, period, but are you drinking enough water? Also, I would say, as the next question is, are you eating enough real food? Because hydration also goes into the nourish point as well, because you can eat your hydration as well. Okay, so those are the first 2 questions. Are you drinking enough water and are you eating enough real food? Okay, does the food that you're eating support the goals that you have in your mind, like that flat stomach, that bikini that you want to wear, the dress you want to get into? Does the things on your plate reflect a person who wants to look like the way that you want to look? Does your eating match? You know what I'm saying? That's the question. All right, now the next one is, are you moving your body? Okay, because we can sit here all day and be like, oh, I know I'm overweight or whatever, but what activity are you doing that supports losing the weight? Because I know you think that it has to be 50-minute workout every day. No, it does not have to be that. Okay, people that you see doing that, they started small. Okay, they just didn't bust out and just start doing it. They had to work their way up to it. But the longer you sit on the sidelines and just watch, that's just movement that you haven't taken part of, right? Even if it's a walk every day, even if it's just you saying, you know what, I'm going to start with stretching my body, because what's going to happen is you're going to stack on top of that. You're going to want to do more as you continue to do the small things. Okay, so. And then I want to talk about rest. The next question is about rest. Are you getting enough actual rest, or are you letting exhaustion just make you pass out? Like, I'm really serious about my sleep these days. I'm not staying up for nothing crazy. It'll be there in the morning. I'm not waking up early if I don't have to. I like to get my rest. Okay, so are you getting enough sleep, or are you waiting until your body just forces you to sleep? And are you actually checking in with yourself, or are you just pushing through like, I'll get to myself later? Because the bottom line is, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you skipping over yourself to go serve somebody else? That's the main question that needs to be asked if you're doing that. Okay, whatever you just answered to all the questions that I just asked, that's your blueprint. That is where you're gonna start. That data is what you need to make the second half the bomb half that we need. All right, the half that we start seeing results in, the half that you stick to a routine or whatever. Like, it's all about self-care. Self-care is maintenance. All right, every day you should be worried about those 5 things, because those 5 things make up the person you show up to be, no matter who you are. Okay, so I did a full breakdown in this week's episode, and I actually went over my own shortcomings, if you will. Okay, I talked about the things that I was intentional in this past 6 months, and I also talked about the things that I skipped, because there's 2 major pillars that could use work in my life. Okay, and so I shared that on the podcast. You can listen to the podcast wherever you get podcasts: Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Look up the Selfcare Revolution podcast. Okay, because we definitely talked about that, and the whole point is to make you aware of where you are, so that you can make different decisions, and so you can start putting in the attention that you need to yourself, and stop ignoring yourself for everybody else, because they're not that important, okay? Not more important than you. So make sure you follow the podcast. And if you want to join the revolution, right, just follow the podcast. That's all you need to do, okay? You can also get our Self-Care Revolution signature tee, and that is at selfcaremattersdaily.com. But if nothing else, download the free tracker on selfcaremattersdaily.com, because that will be the answer to anybody saying, I don't know how to include self-care in my life daily. Because the reality is, you shouldn't be worried about nothing else but how well you take care of yourself. Because, imagine somebody going to play a game, right? You want to make sure that they're going to make sure that they're hydrated, they have the proper clothes, and they practice and all this other stuff. What you doing with life? You know what I'm saying? When you wake up in the morning and you go to work, you're presenting a version of yourself. Do you want that self to be starving? Do you want that self to be dehydrated? Do you want that self to, what do you want, right? Because in my mind, nothing else matters. All right. So anyway, that's our talk for this midweek check-in. But I just want to bring y'all attention back to the fact that half the year is gone. Okay. We ain't worried about, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We got 6 whole months right now to focus on our self-care and just watch it bleed into everything else. Okay. Trust me. Just walk with me. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm not going to say have tried, but am living that. Okay. Anyway, I just came back from lunch. I got me a turkey sandwich because I found a deli that roasts a turkey instead of deli meat. They have turkey. So I'm going to definitely enjoy the sandwich or whatever. But I'm trying to make better food choices. Okay. Because I love me a good French fry. I love me, a lot of stuff that I shouldn't probably have, but I'm trying to make good food choices and eat more food that is supporting the body that I actually want, okay? Because we're not in that body right now, all right? But we love the body we're in now. But my point is, that's what we're going to focus on. So let me know what you're going to focus on down below. Like I said, it's June. We're at the halfway point. What are you going to focus on? You can get down in the comments below and let us know. But, other than that, shout out to Patricia. Thank you for always letting me have this space to talk self-care, okay? And shout out to all the other ladies. And if you, like I said, if you have looked back at your 6 months and you're like, oh my God, I really haven't focused on that. Don't worry about it. You got 6 months. Where are you going right now? Okay, that's the question. Where are you going right now? I'm your girl, Demeter, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.